Before, I already wanted to read the bio of Minister Hoiberg. Let me just focus on the last part. Michelle's focus over the past 4 years in office has been to drive improvements for the socio-economic well-being of those most vulnerable in the community, implement policy changes related to the rights of women and children, promote a culture of reading amongst children, improve the business climate with special emphasis on micro and small businesses, and development of cultural landscape with special emphasis on artists and creative industry. She will talk about harnessing our power for a stronger community. Please give him her a warm applause.
Ladies and gentlemen, Michelle Hoiberg Winklaar, our Minister of Economic Affairs, Cultural and Social Affairs.
Wow. Am I on? Can you hear me? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Falling behind? I don't think so, but let's see. Let's talk about that a little bit. Thank you so much for taking the time out today to come and celebrate with us the 2013 International Women's Day Conference. I am so honored to be here. Your Excellencies, Princess Laurentine, Governor of Aruba, his distinguished wife, all of our speakers, President of Parliament, members of Parliament, and every single person in this room. Thank you for being here today. We also, because as you can see, we are full. We are to the maximum. I think there might be even some people waiting outside. If we had 800 more chairs, they would have been filled, I am certain. So we are live streaming this event. It is also on 24hora.com and Channel 49 and radio stations. So to everybody that could not be here today, we send our best greetings. So say, hello, good morning, everybody. Hello. Wonderful. So, I think I have a presentation, and I'm looking at the IT corner. Hey! I want to also, before we begin, reiterate our thanks to the sponsors. You, of course, have gotten some very amazing gifts, so thank you for spoiling us today, especially our platinum sponsors, of course, that, yes, a big round of applause, that collaborated in such a beautiful way to make this day possible. And I think that is an example of collaboration is absolutely possible, even in the fiercest of competitors. So thank you very much for doing that. Now, I'm looking back at the IT corner. Here we go, yay. So today, I'm going to talk to you about really what the theme is today: strong women, strong leadership, and strong world. Today is about celebrating our achievements, of course. We heard a few of these today already, and really looking at what we've achieved and what are the things that we still yet have to get to. So it's really about the pros and the things that we're still working to achieve. It is really about informing and sharing knowledge, because knowledge really is power. I think that the information that you'll receive today can only add to your wealth of knowledge and, of course, help you to make better decisions in our lives. That's really what the goal is. And it is about making sure that out there, people understand that this is still an important subject. It is not just another day, but it is a day that we can still stand still for a minute and think about what are the areas that we still need to work on. It's still relevant. These women's issues, things that we struggle with, are still a relevant subject that needs to be discussed. And so this, having 800 women in a room, sends a message out there that, oh, okay, we better listen about what it is that they have to say. It is not about taking away power. We heard about that from Emily in terms of men lagging behind. It's not about taking away anything. It's really about talking about how do we get to be a little bit more balanced and how do we share this power together. that is really what it is about. It is not about men bashing. So rest assured, you can feel at ease. It is not about stupid men jokes, not at all. So that is not what we're going to do today. And don't let all the estrogen in the room frighten you. But just in case, there are exits that are clearly marked. I'm going to start with a figure, 2.1 billion. What is this, you ask? This is in florin. I think it's about 1.6 billion, if I'm not mistaken, dollars, but this is in florin. And this is the value that is directly associated with women's contribution to our GDP. So we did a calculation, and thanks to CBS for helping us do this, of what, if we had to separate our GDP on an annual basis, this is in 2013, what percentage of that is associated with a female's contribution in our community. And that is 2.1 billion, which translates to be about 44% of the total GDP. So a significant amount. And this is in, of course, all different areas of labor participation. And it has grown, and it has expanded. We know that women are, as we heard in the banking sector, for sure filling a significant number of positions. We are not yet, however, equally distributed in terms of the types of jobs. So that is where we account for almost half of the labor participation, but only 44% of the GDP. So you see, because they are lower skilled or lower paying jobs, that is the discrepancy there. And you know, we heard the bank employs women at all levels. Why? Because it makes business sense. It's not just a nice to do. It's not just it's the right thing to do. It is the right thing to do, but there's a business component to it. And McKinsey and Company, one of the most powerful advisory and consultancy firms out there, did a research, and they started in 2007. That was their first report. And they wanted to look at gender diversity as a corporate performance driver. So did it make sense? Did having women in companies matter? And they looked at this, and they looked at a number of different European countries. This was focused on Europe. A number of different European countries and companies. And this is what they found. More women at the top of a company, so more diversity at the highest level, the executive levels, equaled better financial performance. Full stop. So it was proven, 2007. This was a breakthrough report, and they've done it every year since then. So what they actually looked at is that companies with more than 30% of women at their top of their organization outperformed those that did not have any. So there you see, 41% and 53% higher financial performance. This was breakthrough. Does this mean that all companies are going to now say, okay, well, let's put women at the top? No, probably not. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. But this at least lays the foundation for the business model, which is it makes sense. Women matter. Another figure, 204 million florin. What is that, you ask? Again, in florin. And that is the estimated value, annual value, of unpaid work done by women in Aruba every year. This is volunteers. This is women that stay at home. This is women that... Yes. Yes. And this accounts for 60 to 70% of all the unpaid work done on this island. So you see where the contribution is not just where we see the GDP, but if you put a value to all the work that women do that we don't get paid for, this is where you end up. And that's, again, an estimate, and I want to thank CBS for helping us with that, specifically the director, Martin, who is a gentleman. I think he's here somewhere. Is he here? There you are. Why aren't you sitting? Why are you not? Oh, you're taking pictures. And he said to me, Michelle, you can't really give an estimate. you're trying to put a value to women, and you can't because they're priceless. And he only said that because he knew I would say that, and his wife will be very happy with him tonight. But yes, thank you very much for helping us with that. But then to see what really, if we start to break it down, what is the impact that women have in Aruba? My thumb is going to get tired, but this is a view, and if everybody can see these, they're kind of small, of all of the different NGOs that either were founded by women, that are run by women, that have women significantly in this organization. And this is just probably a sample. There are many, many others. It fills the page. And I want to use this opportunity to also plug Aruba Dut. This is the biggest volunteer movement. You might have seen a table outside just when you were coming in. This is happening on March the 15th and the 16th. So if you have not signed up to be a volunteer on these 2 days, please see the table, or there's also a website, www.arubadut.com. And we know, I mean, women, again, account for a high percentage of volunteerism already, and there's always space for doing more. So please sign up. I cannot talk about women's development without talking about SEDEM. Ladies of Centro para Desarrollo de Gente Mujer, Women's Development Center, who have done a tremendous job over the last 2 years of really being a place where women from all walks of life, from all circumstances of life, come to talk, to get information. They've done a number of different initiatives across all different neighborhoods, and they're doing an amazing job, really, to position themselves as being there for the positive development of women, and had a number of different campaigns to raise awareness about what women's issues are and how we can help each other. So they have done an amazing job, so much so that it's being exported. Bonaire has asked them to come and help them set up something similar in Bonaire. So really a round of applause for these ladies.
Gente de Aruba está valiente, van sostener. A gente mujer de Aruba está a criação mais bonita de Deus, van sostener.
Gente mujer na Aruba está super dulce, super carinhosa, pero mais que outra coisa, está super inteligente. Vamos valorar.
I'm going gente mujer na Aruba will be courageous, van sostener.
Gente mujer de Aruba está tremendo, van sostener.
Van sostener.
Van sostener. Gente mujer de Aruba está e palanca, van sostener.
Very, very inspiring, and I would say that that was a feat. It was the first time that you have men talking about women and all the things that women are, in a very positive way. So very breakthrough campaign, and a bus that was also branded about all the things that women of Aruba are. I'd also like to mention some important changes to laws that have occurred. I mean, we look at all the different areas where changes need to be made, and of course one of the very important areas is in terms of our legal system. And very recently, I think it was last week if I'm not mistaken, might have been the week before, there was an important labor law that was passed about sexual harassment. I'm going to get to that for a second. But one of the things that is now pending, and I understand it will be probably by April 1st, it's going to be in our legal system, is 1/3 additional sentencing for domestic abuse convictions and for child abuse convictions. And that covers also abuse of any kind for a child that is in your care. So you can think about how broad that covers it. But really, it is about that we have managed to say, well, you know what, we need to be explicit about the things that we won't tolerate as a community. So this is a very positive statement. As I said, also the introduction of the sexual harassment law, which before this change to the civil code did not exist. Nowhere in our laws was it stated that it is not tolerable for somebody to sexually harass somebody else. Incredible. So thank you to Parliament. Thank you to the Minister of Labour as well for making this possible. Also, the specification that employers must consider men and women equal. And that, of course, again, goes to when we're talking about salaries, when we're talking about promotions. Will this immediately have an effect that, you know, that we would eliminate any kind of discrimination? Probably not. But at least now this is the start to say it's not okay to discriminate based on gender. And this is a very interesting one. There was a removal of a night shift ban. So it was actually illegal for women to work a night shift. And now, I don't know about you, but my employer has been violating this law because I can recall a number of nights. But, so this was removed. I mean, a very antiquated thing that clearly doesn't reflect modern society. Women have to work depending on their job. So this was something that was removed. So we see now this shift of this consciousness about what are the things that really reflect what is the reality in our society. So clearly, we see in all areas, all aspects, women moving forward, progressing daily on so many different fronts. And it's clear that, that we're heading towards where we need to be. Some nice pictures. And that we've got the strong women. We have the strong leadership. This is without a doubt. Now, there's one thing, though, that there are still things in our community that affect progression and affect us, not just women, but community as a whole. And so when we talk about the strong world part, we have the strong women, we have the strong leadership, but how do we create and how do we use all of that power to solve some of the biggest problems we face in our community? And that's where I would say, you know, things like addiction, child abuse and neglect, violence against women, which is something we read about every single day, at-risk families and youth, gang violence, you know, all of these things that affect teenage pregnancy, that affect the quality of life for so many women, so many families, and men, of course, as well, as a community at large. So this, you know, the message here is not we need to do more, because as you see, there's so much being done. We are doing so much. The message is, how do we do this in a way that we're coming together to solve these issues? That is really the only way that we're going to be able to tackle some of the most challenging things that we face. And two banks came together. Two fierce competitives came together for a bigger cause. This is where I would say, you know, there are so many areas that we as women need to take a leadership role. It's, of course, their government has a role, but you see the strength of the NGO machine out there. You see the strength of community leaders, women in communities, women in households. This is how these problems can be solved. And we're going to see later on today a wonderful film by Emmanuel Etier called Femme, Women Healing the World, which talks about this, the power of women to be able to tackle these things and to get to the root cause of it and to come together in a very peaceful way to be able to solve these things. I read very recently an article by a gentleman named Dan Obadiah, and he talked about how in today's society we are outraged at the most simplest things. We're outraged by people, you know, what they say, what they wear, what they do, you know, things that it calls for outrage from far and wide. But things that, you know, are really affecting our society oftentimes goes silent, and we just accept. So he said, in the United States, if I'm not mistaken, it was, you know, every day there are 3 women that are killed due to domestic violence. That is something to be outraged about. So, having said that, here is an initiative that I believe, so much believe, that would make a big change in the lives of girls in our community. We talked about this last year, and it's called Miru Mangrandi, My Big Sister, and we did a pilot. And the outcome was amazing. These girls that, it was not a big pilot, it was a very small pilot, but the girls that were in the program, this really changed their lives. So there were girls that were doing horrendous in school, and through this program moved forward for the first time significantly academically. So this is something that is impacting the lives of girls everywhere. It is for girls that need guidance, they need a little bit of extra attention. This is not simply girls that are, you know, so socially damaged that they need therapy. This is not the program. It is a program where we partner up women from our community with girls from our community to really provide them a little bit of coaching. But here's a little bit more information.
I made the conscious choice to be part of the Big Sister program because as a woman, I feel very passionate about empowering women. And I believe we need to start with young girls when they are children. And so I thought one way of really empowering women is by being part of this program, so as to nurture and to mold and to support and to empower young girls, so as to eliminate all the possible risk factors of them not reaching their true potential or being what they really want to be in life. And so I believe my role is to really help and support and to empower my little sister so that she can recognize that in this world she can be anything she wants to be, whenever she makes up her mind. And I'm just there to guide and to mold and to nurture her. So that at the end, what Aruba has is a young woman who is productive, who is successful, who is career-oriented, and she can really give back to Aruba. And not only Aruba, give back to herself, her family, her community, and the global community.
Oslang kumi gusta mas hopi taku eta pisami kung sinti pa or mi bira grande pa mi po pusha mi mes anto orela puntrami si mi ke bira kiko mi ke bira or mi bira grande mi si mi fro anto ku elaribami na universiteit anto say lagami push pa mi bira algo mas bom na vida mane mi dreams ku mi ke bira fro.
So of all the things we've done together, what are the things that you enjoyed the most?
Hello, ekos digo, ekos hobby magusta ta ku mabay Coney Island anto ku kuche nasa bay din boto anto deses
That was scary, no? Oh my goodness.
Sa mantado chesuma, tas vida quiero vida kai anto deses Cento mene wantame anto ora nos vai full arriba e ora vai full above. Este grita anto é todo me scary no momento. And what you enjoy the most?
For me, I enjoyed everything, but I really enjoyed when you were at the university, and I recognized that you're so well mannered. You introduced yourself, you shook people's hands, you actually.
So, if you would like to, now we're going forward. If you would like to sign up to be a Big Sister, there will be an information table outside during lunch. So please feel free to go and talk to the team from SEDEM. They will explain a little bit more about the program, and you know, maybe you too can make the difference in a girl's world. So I've been shown the time? Oh yeah, am I right? Okay, good. Good. It's a very tight day. There's so many people that are going to be sharing such wisdom with you today. So in closing, I wanted to leave you with this. I love this quote by Gloria Steinem. We've begun to raise daughters more like sons, but few have the courage to raise our sons more like daughters. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not sure. My husband might be here somewhere. I think he's all the way in the back, so he's going like, we're not raising our son like a daughter, okay? But it did make me think about, how I would want us to raise our children is really that they would measure people's worth not based on their gender, not based on how rich they were, how poor they were, how connected, or their color of their skin, their religion, their political affiliation. It really would be our biggest achievement if we could raise them to really think about other people based on their contribution, how kind, how generous, all of the things. And I would say certainly gender diversity would be one of the things that I would want our children to understand, that clearly it is not about taking away from somebody, but it is about how do we both, as men and women, move forward in creating a world that we really want to be part of. Thank you so much for being here, and I wish everybody an amazing day, and I will come and try and say hello to almost everybody. Thank you so much.